Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your mid-complexity casual gamer.
I'm Stacey, I'm your non-gamer.
I'm gonna move this just a little bit. It's a little slated down a little bit. All right. And we're here tonight with our 5 and Dime for 2019 game recommendations. Hey Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Jeff.
This is usually filmed ahead of time, but just kind of this week got a little away from us, and so we figured we would just pop it up live this week. So as always with our 5 and Dime, I will give 10 suggestions.
I will give 5.
And I have mine in order from lowest ranked on BGA to on BGG to highest ranked on BGG. And I kind of tried to put mine into 10 different categories or 10 different mechanisms, which I think is like the main mechanism of the game.
As always, put mine into alphabetical order because I don't like to discriminate against my games, thinking people or making people think that I like one game better than the other. So,
oh, I can tell you that my order that they're in are not the order that I like them.
Well,
that's just the ranking on BGG.
Well, that's why alphabetical comes in here.
Oh, sweet. Thanks, Jeff. Jeff prepared a list to share later. Nice. So, hey, you know what? As we're doing ours, Jeff, feel free to hop in on after I've given some, whatever, what your 10 are. So, all right. So we're going to get started right away. And my first one is a really fun, I Cut You Choose, a very light I Cut You Choose from 2019. And this comes to us from Button Shy Games. And this is called Tussie Mussy. Tussie Mussy is an I Cut You Choose game played over 3 rounds where you are drafting cards of flowers. I had played this solo for quite some time, several times, and then talked to Stacey, and it has become one that we really enjoy playing multiplayer. So here's a picture of a round in taking place. In each round, you will have 2 sets of drafts back and forth. You place 1 card face up and 1 card face down. And with that, whoever faces down, so this is the person on the right has placed these 2 cards down. I know that because I set it up earlier. And so the person on the left is going to choose which one they want. If they take the face up one, they put it in the face up row. If they put it in, or they keep it face up. If they put it face down, they take the face down. It has to stay face down unless another card can change. After each person has 4 cards, you pull the ones that are face down below the ones that are face up. The ones in the face up ones are your bouquet. The ones that are face down are your keepsakes. And then there's different scoring based on the hearts. Every heart is a point. But then there's some different scoring, like some of these cards, I think, say for every certain color in your keepsakes or certain color in your bouquet, or if you don't have any other of this color, you score points. So you do this over 3 rounds, and after 3 rounds, whoever has the highest score wins. The solo mode for this is also very clever in the fact that there's a card, and it just tells you how to place the cards. Are you placing 2 face up? Are you placing 2 face down? Or 1 face up, 1 face down? And then you're taking, and then the opponent is taking stuff. So, and it says, do they keep it face up or face down, or do they keep it how it is, or do they flip it? So, this is a really fun I Cut You Choose game. If you're looking for an I Cut You Choose game from this time period, then I don't think you can go wrong with Tussie Mussy. Plus,
Mm-mm.
it's a button shy, which means it comes in a little wallet and it does not take up a lot of space. So if you're looking for a nice small game that you can travel with and you like I Cut You Choose, Tussie Mussy is a recommendation from me. My next one, I think, falls mainly into the area majority um, mechanic. It has some worker placement, sort of, with some little tiles. And this one comes to me from one of my favorite companies, Thunderworks Games, and this is Lock Up a Role Player Tale. And so in Lock Up a Role Player Tale, on your turn, and I only play this one solo, you are going to place one of your little character tiles into one of the locations around the Coolbeck prison. You are trying to gain different resources that can allow you to build and make some different weapons and things because you're in prison, so they're making weapons and things. Um, some different things, I guess.
Double shanks.
I mean, pretty much. I don't know, some other magical sort of things and stuff. You're also trying to hire goons into your squad, and it's area majority because what happens is every one of your little um, people in your gang, basically, each gang is a different race in the role player universe. And so what happens is each one is a number. And in the solo game, this works out where the guards, you're playing against the guards, and the guards will place a card in all the locations except for the library. And then on your turn, you will flip over one of the guard cards to see what value is there. And then you will play yours. Once you play in a location, you can't add on to it. So you have to put your highest possible value at any one time. And then you play over 6 rounds. And yeah, so whoever has the highest value at a spot will get whatever that spot gives you. And yeah, I really like this one. This is really fun. I did do a live solo stream of this a few weeks ago on my solo Sunday, and I'll be covering the expansion. I was going to do that on the solo stream, but it did not quite fit on my desk. It was just a little too deep, so I'll be covering the expansion here at some point, and that is Lock Up a Role Player Tale.
And my first recommendation from 2019 is Antiquity Quest. That is by Grandpa Beck. And that it again is from 2019. And Antiquity Quest is a set collection game, and it's a not really a take that. It can be a take that kind of game if you play it that way. Sometimes you have to play it that way just so that you get through your cards. But you'll take turns drawing, playing, and discarding cards as you work on getting your collections and sabotaging the other person's sets as you go along. So you start the game with two sets of cards. One set is your hand, and the other set is the what's it called?
Oh,
The cash. Is the cash. Which the cash remains face down until you go through all of the cards in your hand. You're going to take turns drawing, playing, and discarding as you create your own collections and sabotaging the other person's. Now, a round ends once a player has completed at least 5 collections and played through all of the cards in their hands, and then you can play the cash. Every player takes one last turn, and then the scores are tallied. So there are different collections that you get scores for.
before you go into that,
Oh.
the picture on the thing, this is the only decent picture I could find of the game. I
Oh,
should have set one
yeah.
up. This is just showing you the different cards. So the colored cards up top are called the antiquities. The ones in the bottom left are the treasures, and then you have a couple specialty cards, which Stacey will talk about. But I couldn't find a good picture of the game actually in action. And I should have set one up for one, but that's
Okay.
what the cards. So when Stacey's talking about the different sets and stuff, that's what she's gonna be talking about.
Yes. So I just took a drink of lemonade, and it was a little bit more sour than I thought it was going to be. Excuse me. Um, So you can score on your collections by having a mixed collection, which is basically you have your jewels down at the bottom. I can't, I'm so sorry. Your treasures down at the bottom, mixed with any of the other um antiquities.
And in the same color. So the antiquity, any set with antiquities needs to be in the same color.
And then you have the standard antiquity, which is the same color. It doesn't matter what numbers or anything. It's just all the same colors as your standard antiquities. Then you have your standard treasures, which is the black cards with any of the treasures. They can be duplicate jewels to get that one. Then you have your perfect antiquity. Now you can see there in the blue, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have your
With an
perfect
extra. Well, they have
antiquity.
the extras.
Yeah, there's only need 5 of those though. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can mix a wild in there, and that is considered a perfect antiquity. That's 1,000 points right there. So we always strive to be perfect, and we notice that that does not help the game whatsoever. And then if you have the perfect treasure, which you can see on the treasure cards, they have different jewels on them. So you have one of each jewel, that's 1,500 points. So again, you try and be perfect with those, and it doesn't always work. And then you can see down at the bottom, right, you have the special cards. You have, what is her name?
Tess.
And then you have Nigel over on the right hand side. He's going all on his card for not for
Nigel's the
for
one that has
something.
hired you to find all these antiquities.
So Nigel, you have to draw 3 cards when he is played, and then you set him into your collection. And then Tess, oh, I'm so sorry. And now I've got a Dorito stuck in my throat. Tess, you remove the cards. You play her as your card on top of the discards, and you remove all of the discards from the stack. So you can take from the discard pile if you have 2 or 3 of that top card. You have to take the entire pile though. I'm so sorry. So to play your turn, you draw 2 cards. Discard, play if you want to, and then you can play as many cards on your stack set you want, and then you can play your Tess or your Nigel cards. I'm good, thank you. Now I've got a drippy nose though. So Antiquity Quest is a fun game. I really like this. I like set collecting games because it's right up my alley. That's about my skill level sometimes. It's kind of easy to set up. As you get all of your cards going, you end up with cards everywhere. So, it's a little harder to take down, I think. But I like it. I'm kind of a Grandpa Beck's junkie, so it's right up my alley.
We'll be talking about this one a little bit more. We're gonna start another review series that's different than our initial impressions, which is a full-on review, and we're gonna be doing a new review series of 3 quick reviews where we're just going to talk about games in a certain mechanism or small box games or games from a certain company. So we have a couple of more recent Grandpa Beck's games, so we're going to do that here soon. So look for more information on that one. Let's see, what did Jeff say? He starts with 2 expansions, Ticket to Ride Japan / Italy and Poland. Yeah. We did not include any expansions in these. These are all base games. Otherwise, we'd have probably more options. Ticket to Ride Japan. That was on our wall last month. It is one of our favorites. Poland. I'm trying to remember what Poland is. I'm pretty sure we have it. I just can't remember. We haven't played it for a while, so I can't remember which one that is. But yes. So speaking of Ticket to Ride, though, my next game, Stacey talked about her favorite city edition of Ticket to Ride last week. Well, my route building game for you guys is my favorite city edition, and this is Ticket to Ride London by Days of Wonder. Ticket to Ride London. Here's the Ticket to Ride London map. Plays exactly the same as Ticket to Ride, although you can see these different areas that are numbered with different colors. So you can see there's 2 1s, 4 2s, 5 4s. And what these add some extra scoring. If you connect the 2 1s, anyway, if they are on the same route, you get an extra point. If you connect all of the 2s, you get 2 points. If you can get the 5s, which is really hard because there's some long routes there, you get 5 points bonus at the end of the game. Hey Todd, thanks for joining us. Yeah, I thought it was pretty ironic, Jeff, when you said Ticket to Ride, and I knew mine was coming up. But yeah, so this game, this is my favorite city edition. Plays exactly the same as Ticket to Ride. but I like that little region bonus that you get when you connect the different things, and they don't have to be like in a single. It doesn't have to be like in a straight line. Like on the twos, they're kind of in a T shape. You can connect them in that T shape as long as they're all connected in the same route, or as long as they're all connected. They don't even have to be in the same route. As long as they're all connected, you get those bonus points. So it just adds that little bit extra without adding too much. And so that is my favorite city edition, and that is Ticket to Ride London. My next game falls under the grid coverage mechanism, and this is
I don't even know what
Tiny Towns by Aldrich Entertainment Group, otherwise known as AEG. So in Tiny Towns, you have a 4x4 grid that you are getting different resources from glass, wood, I don't remember what the gray and yellow ones are off the top of my head. But what you're doing is you're taking those and you're trying to put them in certain configurations so that you can build those buildings along the top there. Those buildings will score different ways based on where they're placed, what they're placed next to. Um, and like if certain things like the blue ones, you need farms or the red buildings in order to feed them, and then they will only score if they feed, and other things will score different ways. This is a really fun one. I've played mostly solo. I did teach this to Stacey earlier this year. But yeah, Tiny Tones a really fun grid coverage game, and there's lots of different cards for each one of the different colored buildings. So there's a lot of variability in this one, and different ones, and those score differently as well. So I really like that game. Like I said, some of them score based on how many you have. Some of them are if they're next to something. Some of them are score if you have another building in it. Some of them score, I mean, just all sorts of different ways. And that is Tiny Town. Let's see. Jeff, one of his next games is Village Pillage. Not played that one. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us. Yep, Tussie Mussy was my first one that I talked about. It was my I cut you choose game. We really enjoyed that one. All right, on to you.
Oh, is it my turn?
It is.
Oh, I didn't know you did too.
Yep, I did Ticket to Ride London and Tiny Towns. They were small games, so they were much quicker to talk.
Okay, so my next one from 2019 for recommendation is Draftosaurus. This is a by Ankama
On comma and comma, I don't know.
Games. Yes. So Draftosaurus is a closed drafting game. Now I've got something in my eye. This is not my game. It's a closed drafting game. It's a quick and light drafting game in which you don't have hands of cards that you pass around, but you have a bunch of dino meeples in your hand instead. And your goal is to have the dino park most likely, the dino park that is most likely to attract visitors. You have to draft dino meeples and place them in pens that have some placement restrictions. And then each turn, one of the players roll a die, and that adds a constraint to which pen the other player can put their dinos in. And you're free to place your dinos wherever you want to, but that just restricts the other player. Draftosaurus, I like this game. It really is fun. You are trying to, some of the pens that you're putting in, you're trying to match the dinosaur. Some of them you don't want any of the same dinosaur. Some of them, the love one, I think, is the one where you try and get two of the same one.
Yeah, because the board is two-sided. There's the summer side and the winter side. Both sides play a little differently. Yeah.
I like the love. It's so nice. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, Dragosaurus. At first, I was a little intimidated by it, but because I really didn't know what closed drafting meant. But once I learned and I got up there, I really like this game. I really like this game.
It's a lot of fun. This is one I learned on BGA, and I knew that it was one that Stacey would like, and it was going to be a good one for our collection for a nice lighter game. And so I bought it, and yeah, that one's a lot of fun.
Instant hit.
Yep.
Kind of.
Yeah. My next one, if you like Tech Tracks, this one comes from one of my favorite companies, and I know Jeff knows exactly what game I'm talking about here because we play it all the time on BGA. I actually play it only solo on the tabletop, but I prefer it multiplayer. And this is Tapestry by Stonemeyer Games. So in Tapestry, you are working up one of these 4 tracks around the outside of the board. With expansions, it adds more tracks. Each one of those tracks gives you some different abilities and some different things you're doing. You're also doing some tile laying when you are working across the blue track. You are getting some tiles, you're placing them down. When you go across the red track, which is the military one, you are we are you are basically attacking other tiles so you can move onto them and get things. You might be attacking people. In the science track, you eventually you get the science dice, which allows you to move on other dice. Once you get into the second era in it, basically, you actually get the bonuses and stuff. And then the tech track, which is the yellow one, you get to make some tech things. The blue one is the exploration track, and I just really like this game. We almost constantly have a game of this going on Board Game Arena, with pretty much the same group. I am not any good at this game. I really am not. In fact, the last time we played was the first time I had ever won at this game in multiplayer on BGA in the dozen or so games we've probably played. But I did get 200 points, which was my highest score ever. And so I was like, wow, I got 200 points. But I don't mind losing it because it is just a really interesting game. So at the start of the game, you get a tapestry card, which you will place on your own player mat, which will give you some sort of either ongoing ability for each era. You play over 4 eras, or it'll give you some sort of instant thing, and then you get a civilization, and each one of those is asymmetric, and they give you all sorts of different powers and abilities. But I do really like this game, even though I am not very good at it and have absolutely no strategy at it. Oh yeah, yes. Tapestry definitely on my list, Jeff. Oh, it was. I was looking now. I'm going. Yep, got to include tapestry, but I do prefer it. It's actually probably going to be on my cult pile. It's rather big for solo play, and my solo gaming has changed since I bought it. I do really love the game, but I prefer playing it multiplayer. I think it's a little bit more fun multiplayer. So that is Tapestry by Stonemeyer Games. My next game is a game that comes in a series. It is the third one in the series, and it is an open drafting tile placement game. And this is Azul Summer Pavilion by Next Move Games. We talked about Azul a couple weeks ago, and this is the third game in the series. This, I believe, is probably now my favorite one because it is a little more forgiving. And in Azul Summer Pavilion, it plays very similar to Azul, and you have your factory tiles in the middle. You have tiles on them, diamond shaped tiles on them. When you draft off them, you are drafting everything of one color. But in Summer Pavilion, you also have a wild color. So if you look on the big board, they're in the third round, and the wild color is orange. So if you look at the factory tile to the left, if they wanted to take the green, red, or yellow tile, they also get to take the orange one. You can use that orange one as any color during a round. You are trying to put tiles either using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 of a color in the little kind of pinwheel looking thing over on the right side. You can see part of the player board. Or you can save them for later. So sometimes you may be getting the end of a round. You'd be like, oh, I can get some yellows because yellow is going to be wild next round, and that's really going to help me as well. And so you score based on when you place the tiles in on the different colors. The same as Azul. When you place one of them down, you get 1 point. If you place one next to it, you get 2 points, 3 points, and so on and so forth. But each one of them also needs a certain number of tiles in order to be played. Then you can see some little kind of little drawings in between the tiles, like so in between the red and orange tiles. When you surround that completely, you get 2 bonus tiles off of this center board. If you can get the 2 spaces on the outside of a single color, which are the 5 and 6 space, you get 3 tiles from the middle. If you get the thing in the middle, the very middle of the player board is wild. You can use each color 1 time on there. But if you surround one of those, you get 1 tile. So this one, there's a lot more chances of getting some extra tiles. There's the whole wild tile. There's a whole idea that you can also save 4 tiles from one round to the next round, so you don't lose stuff. It doesn't go down into a negative row. If you have a whole bunch of stuff that you can save them for the next round to hopefully be able to use them. So I really like Summer Pavilion. It has we played this quite a bit late last year on BGA. And I think it has moved into my favorite just because of all those kind of forgiving things. Um, Now, when we play Azul, and even when I play Azul on BGA with my friends, we don't play like a take that sort of game. We don't try to screw each other over because none of us are that kind of player. It happens sometimes just because of what you need. Um, but Summer Pavilion really helps alleviate that even more because of those forgiving circumstances of being able to take 4 tiles into the next round, being able to get extra tiles, having the wild tile. Like all those things really make it a lot more forgiving. So that is Azul Summer Pavilion. Let's see. Push Your Luck Las Vegas Royale. Ooh, may have to look in that one.
I
That's
don't know
one.
that one.
I don't. I've heard it, but I do not know. All right.
Okay.
You're next.
I am next, and this one was on our wall last month, and I just recently learned how to play it, and I really like this game. I like this more than the other game that we have.
This one wasn't on our wall. We just learned it.
No?
We just learned it for. We just learned it.
Wah, wah, wah.
No, it wasn't. We just learned
I
it
thought it was
because
on our wall.
no, no.
I'm kind of sad. Okay, well, this wasn't on our wall. I just lied and my nose just grew. But this game is Vidoran Gardens by City of Games. And oh my gosh, it was up on the shelf though. Wasn't that mean it was on our wall? It was
No,
on
it was
the
just
shelf.
no. It was just sitting on the. It wasn't on the wall.
Okay.
Last month was Japan.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It feels like it's been a long time.
It's this month, then it's on the wall.
No,
It's not on the wall at all.
It's not on
So
the wall at all.
Victorian Gardens. I'm getting old and I can't remember what I did yesterday. But this is a really fun game. It's a tile placement game, but you use cards instead of tiles. A lot of people still call them tiles, but I call them cards. And it's a 10-round game, and in each round, players choose cards and strategically place them in their garden, extending their pathways to the different objectives that you have. Up at the top, you can see the objectives where the green, the red, and the blue are, and it tells you what order or what specific things you have to do. Like you have to have 5 different animals in one path, or you have to have 5 waterfalls or different features. And then when you get those, you put your little meeple. They're not called meeples in this game, but I'm going to call it a meeple. You put your little meeple color on there, and that's extra points for you. Now you have to try and, on the left hand one, you can see where you are trying to extend your color basically to make your path. And there's different animals that you can collect. There's different paths that you can collect and different water features. I like this game. And this is the second part of the, what's it called? The Cats on Fire.
Oh,
one.
it's City of Games, so it's Race to the Raft.
Race
it's the
to
same
the Raft.
sort of. This came out, yeah, well, obviously before Race to the Raft because we were talking.
Oh, it did?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, this one kind of got buried, I think, a little bit in with another game that came out very close to it. But yeah, you've got some objectives that you're trying to do. This is a lot of fun. It's a much lighter game. You can only place the tiles on the far right side of the previous one, like Stacey said, trying to get the pass as long as you can. If you've played King Domino, this has the same King Domino mechanism as whoever's Vidoran is what the little Midori, Vidoran Gardens. Whichever one is to the left gets to take their tile first and gets to choose from the bottom row first. So it has that same sort of mechanism as the player who goes first changes every round, which I really like. And then, like Stacey said, if you get certain tiles, you might get something that has a found treasure, which is that little red thing on it. And then at the end of the game, if that is still uncovered, you get to place it on that, and that is now a treasure you get to score. Yeah, this is a really fun one in the whole line of games from City of Games.
And there's cute animals on it.
Yeah, the artwork on it is just beautiful.
It's adorable. So yes, so that is Bedoran Gardens. I like it. I like it better than the raft one. That one stresses me out.
That one does get a little stressful, you know. Well, ironically enough, the
Oh,
reason I think Vidoran Gardens has not gotten as much notoriety or like is not out there as big is because I think it was kind of left in the dust by my next pick, and this is my polyomino placing game, and this is Isle of Cats, also from the City of Games.
mm.
Isle of Cats is a huge game, a like as far as well-known game. Um, they both came out in 2019, so I think Vidoran Gardens kind of just and I think the original because there was a refreshed version that came out recently, which is what we got, and I think the original. I think because Isle of Cats just became so big, I think Vidoran Gardens kind of just was one that nobody really talked about. I'm glad we picked it up when we started kind of like, oh, but you know, Isle or City of Games, really good. So,
Didn't somebody recommend it to us? I thought.
no, I picked it up. I picked it up after I backed Emberleaf, which is their upcoming Kickstarter,
Mm.
because I really like Isle of Cats and we really like Race of the Raft. So I'm like, oh, this one looks nice and small and cute, and I'm like, this one looks perfect. But Isle of Cats, I've talked about this one before on some other things. In Isle of Cats, you are closed drafting cards in a multiplayer game. In a solo game, which is what I do play on the tabletop, it is you are taking cards, you're drafting a certain number of them, discarding the rest. Taking some, drafting some, discarding the rest. And then you have to actually pay for the cards. So you are drafting a set of 7 cards, but then you have to pay for them. And when you pay for them, you pay for them with fish, and you are trying to rescue cats off of an island. And then the different cards allow you to do different things. They may give you some extra baskets so you can get extra cats in the second phase of the game. They may give you some scoring. They may give you some treasures. So they give you all sorts of different things. So once you draft your cards and pay for them, then you go into the open draft phase, which is you are drafting the cats from the top of the board, and they're on two sides of the island. The ones on the left are 3 point or cost 3 fish. The ones on the right cost 5. You can earn extra permanent baskets because permanent baskets are good because then you don't have to get cards with them on them later. And then in the solo game, you're playing against the sister. You're always playing against the sister in City of Games. Um, and so the sister has a set of 5 cat-colored cards that are placed face down in a row. And after each round, the next one is turned over, so you can see which one they're going to score. She's going to score on, and then she has some things that she's going to, some goals she's going to be trying getting. She scores based on what you do. So I really like this whole back and forth of okay, what do I need? But I need to do something so that the sister isn't scoring as well. And I really like I've kind of come up with a really good strategy, I think, where I tried not to take any or very many cats the first 2 rounds, and I try to load up on as many cards as I can because then I know what her top 3 scoring cats are. Whatever cat is in the first round, she gets 5 points for. In order to offset that and even tie her on that, you need to have a really large cat family because you need at least 3 cats for a family, but that only gives you like 8 points or something. If you have 3 red cats and the red is her first scoring one, she gets 5 points for each one of those. So she gets 15 points, you get 8 points. And I think you need to get a family of like 5 or something before you even offset that. So getting cats of the same color that she is scoring in the first round or the second round where she's scoring 5 or 4 points is really hard. But you wait till that third round and you flip it over. Okay, so now you know which one she's only scoring 3, and you know which 2 are left. So you know the one she's only scoring 2 and 1 point for. So now you can start going, okay, now I'm going to start bombarding cats. And hopefully I've got some cards built up so I can put more cats up there, or I can get a lot of cats at once. And then you get some different treasures. You score on your boat based on the rooms that you completely fill. If you don't fill certain rooms, you lose points. If you don't cover the rats, you lose points. But I really like Isle of Cats. I do have the big box that I need to still put the stuff together for easier organization, so it'll make it much easier to get to the table because it is quite a bit of stuff to get out on my desk in the den. Lots of baggies with stuff in it, so I need to get that put together. But that is one of my top polyomino line games, and that is Isle of Cats. My next game also includes Polyominoes, but you are drawing them, and this is one of my top flip and right, X and right games, and this is my X and right recommendation for 2019, and this is Cartographers, Heroes. Although Heroes came out later, the original Cartographers came out, but I'm really talking about everything Cartographers related. I've covered all 6 map packs. I've covered base Cartographers Heroes. I've played with some of the mini expansion things. So in Cartographers, you are a cartographer that is exploring a different land. So this is 2 different maps from 2 different games. Each game, there are 4 scoring cards under the A, B, C, and D. They score for different things. In round 1, you are scoring A and B. In the first season, which is summer, you are scoring, or which is spring, you score A and B. In the summer, you score B and C. In the fall, you score C and D. In the winter, you score D and A. But you have a smaller amount of time in each season. So in Cartographers, in the first 2 seasons, you have a total of 8. Then you have 7, then 6. So on the left, you can see some cards. Those cards come out blindly, and you have to draw them immediately. Sometimes you have a choice. Sometimes you get some extra coins, which give you some points as well. And as soon as the value on those cards reaches the number for the season, so the first season of 8, that season's over. And then you score. And you do that for each season. And when you're done, you just kind of check your score. I really like this game solo. I'm not a mean player. I like the fact that the ambushes in solo, it feels like the game is trying to stop you from doing stuff. When we do play this online, I think it's pretty much the people I play with have a really hard time of purposely screwing over the other person's map, but at the same time, you feel like if you don't, you aren't playing the game right. But pretty much the group of people I play with, we all kind of feel the same way about that. As far as like, we really don't like screwing over the other people's maps, but you kind of have to. So that is Cartographers. That is my action right. And what's Jeff got to say here? All right, he's got next 2 co-op games. The Crew and Horrified. I really did enjoy playing the Crew on BGA. I do own Horrified American Monsters. Which one did you know that was gonna be on my list, Jeff?
Probably cartographers.
Cartographers? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's on every list, whether it doesn't matter.
Hey, if it fits, it's got to be on there. I'm recommending games that I enjoy playing. I'm not gonna recommend games I don't like.
I do. I'm just kidding.
Stacey actually doesn't like any of the games she recommends. She's just fooling y'all.
Speaking of games I don't like, here's my next one.
Not true.
Just kidding. The next one that I am going to talk about is again another game that I just learned how to play. It was a busy weekend here at the Wheels house for learning new games.
In the last week, we've learned quite a few.
It tired me out. But this is another button shy game. It's Wonder Tales, and this is such a cute game. I don't care what age you are, if you're male, female, kid, it doesn't matter. Wonder Tales is so darn cute. It's a card laying / set collection game for 2 players only. I think most of Button Shy games are for 1 or 2 players.
Some of them play a little bit more, but a lot of them that I have are in the Simply Solo series, so they are for solo only. But some of them do play 2 or up. Yeah.
Okay. But Wonder Tales is strictly for 2 players. The reason for that is that the cards are double-sided with the same character on each side, but one side's blue and one side's pink themed, or red. I guess that they call it as red. Players take turns placing cards on the shared tableau with their color showing. And then once the tableau is full, scores are tallied depending on which combinations of characters or colors lie adjacent to players' cards. Now, this is played in 2 to 3 rounds. So whoever wins, if you win the first 2 rounds, you're done. You don't have to play the third one unless you just want to play for good sportsmanship. And then the tableau will change with each round because you collect all your cards back and then you start with the new starter card and you play from there. There are, let me think. So on each card that you have, so I was red, and so with each card that you have a different fairy tale character. You have everything from the three bears to
The three little
the three little
pigs.
pigs, and you have to try and place them according to what the card says. Like a lot of the button shy games do, they kind of tell you how to place that card and what the points will be if you place it adjacent to something. So you want to put Little Red Riding Hood next to the three bears if you can for bonus points.
Goldilocks next to
Or
the three bears.
Goldilocks, I'm sorry. Yes. If you place certain characters next to other characters, you lose points. So this is just a really cute game. And then with each round that you do, the amount of cards that you lay down in that order will change. So this is round one. You have a or is this round two? I can't remember.
It's round two.
Okay, so round one, you have a 5x3. Round two, you have a 4x4. And then round three, you have
a pyramid, which we never got to. We both won in 2 rounds.
Yeah, so we never made it to round three. So I'm sure that you have a pyramid shape. Um, but this is so gosh darn cute. I just absolutely love this game. This is probably like if we travel, this is probably one of the games that I'm gonna ask to be taken.
I think this and Tussie Mussy.
I like
they're just
Tussie
quick. They're just
Mussy.
quick. Small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you always have 2 cards in your hand. When you play one, the next round you draw
Yep.
one. So you always get a little bit of a choice. So yeah, it was a fun one. We've been trying before doing these lists to clear off our games from our unplayed shelf in that year. So we did get a few of these games to the table recently in like the last week and a half to see if they are ones that we wanted to recommend.
Our shelf of shame is for 2019 is gone. I think.
Yep. We got the last 3 games, and actually all 3 of them are on this list.
Ooh, good thing we played them.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have a few, for next week. So yeah, that is a good one. So that is now 2 button shies on this list. Nice.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. All right, my next one is going to be my worker placement game recommendation, and this is all about going to the national parks. And this is Parks First Edition from Keymaster Games. In Parks, you are going across a trail that extends each round for 4 rounds. The first round, I think it's 5 or 6 long. You have your base tiles that are in every round, and then every round you add an extra tile to go in there. And as you're going across, you are gaining some different resources that can be used to visit parks. You can reserve parks in certain spots. You can get some canteens, which when you put water on them, they give you some extra abilities. You can take beautiful pictures. You can get some gear, which give you some bonuses. So someone might say, oh, if you have this gear, you get to pay 2 less mountains for any national park you visit that has 2 less mountains. So in Parks First Edition, you have these little tiles. And each round, like I said, each round you add a new one in. So over 4 rounds, your trail gets longer and longer as you go across. You're going to have some extra little tokens on there, depending on what season it is. Starting with the second tile, and you get some extra things. You can only have 12 tokens at a time. If you have the camera and you go to take a picture, it costs you 1 resource. If you do not, it costs you 2 resources, but you then do get the camera. And then you also have a campfire, so you can't go on a position that another player is on, including your other player. You have 2 meeples that are going down the trail, but you can extinguish your campfire to do that once per round. When you get to the end, you get a choice of 3 different options. You can either reserve a park. I think it's reserve a park is the top one. And then if you're the first person there, you get the first player token for the next round. And when you reserve a park, you're just reserving it for later. You haven't actually visited yet. You still have to pay all the resources to do that. Or you may buy gear if you're the first player there in a 2-player game, or the second player as well in a 3 or up game, I think it is. You can spend 1 less sun, so the gears cost sun, but you can spend less in order to buy that if you're the first person there. Or you can actually visit a park in the bottom spot, and that's when you actually spend your resources to get that park and visit it. As soon as one person has both of their meeples at the end of the trail, the other person has to pull all meeples still on the trail to the end. So it is this very interesting kind of push and pull. Is like, how far do I go? How many things do I want to gain? What sites do I want to make sure I can visit? How far behind can I keep my second hiker so that maybe I can get some of those stronger things that other people are on, either yourself or the opponent? Especially, I mean, I can imagine in like a four-player game when there's like 8 meeples out there
Oh
walking.
my
That would be
goodness.
crazy.
You'd be using your water all the
You'd
time.
be using your
You
fire,
can't
your
team.
campfire
Oh,
all the time.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
also,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, getting extra things with your canteen, trying to get water. But
Mm-hmm.
it is this really interesting, like I said, push and pull. Is like, how far do I take both my hikers? I know I can get my first one down there, but man, if the other person is really close, do I got to really jump to something, or do I just be like, okay, we're gonna? I know I've got at least 2 turns left because they're gonna put it at the end. Um, and I know I've got 2 turns, so maybe I can get something else before I have to move in there. But we really like parks. We do have the first edition with both the Nightfall and Wildlife expansion, which I enjoy as well, and that adds just some other little things. But that is parks. Castles of Burgundy is not one that I've played, Jeff. I've heard great things about it. I am interested in it. Maybe sometime we can get on. I think it's on BGA. Maybe we can get on and you can teach it to me sometime because I have heard of it, and I've heard great things from a lot of different content creators about it. So that is Hoax, my worker placement game. And my final one is the second game from Stonemaier Games on this list. And this is a tableau builder, and this is Wingspan by Stonemaier Games. In Wingspan, you are trying to find birds in different habitats. You have the forest, you have the fields, and you or prairies, and then you have the water habitats. You are rolling dice to get resources. Um, so this is you got to get a good engine going, otherwise your resources are going to be minimal in this game. And so in the top row in the forest, the more birds you have on there, the more dice you get to actually take resources from. In the middle, you are getting eggs to put on your birds. In the bottom, you're getting more cards in your hand. As you go across the board, though, you need to spend eggs in order to put your birds in. There's different powers. Some of them are one-use powers. Some of them are powers when you kind of go to that location. So if I place a cube at the very end of the forest, I work my way backwards and I get to activate all of the brown powers. And then there's uh, there's 4 different round goals that you're looking for, and whoever has the most in each of the round goals, um, sorry, uh, will get points, and you kind of score from there down. Play this one on BGA multiplayer mostly at this point. Not necessarily my favorite solo game to play, but I do enjoy Wingspan, and it is a really good tableau building game. And if you like birds, this is a great one. There's a lot of fun facts and stuff. So that is Wingspan by Stonemaier Games.
And my last game of the evening is from one of my favorite board game companies, and that is Kids Table Board Games. And this is Rec Raiders. And Rec Raiders is a dice drafting slash worker placement game where you choose from a pool of dice for the most part, and then you send one of your divers down to the wreck at the bottom of the ocean, and you are trying to. This is where my mind always starts to go crazy because I can't remember that much information at once.
So you have your
But
lid
yeah,
where
so
you're
you're
rolling your
trying to
dice.
recover exotic treasures from the
Yes.
seafloor, and you are putting your little divers on different wrecks. And when you get to those wrecks, you are gaining different treasures that you can put into your museum. You can put into the vault, I guess it is,
Yeah.
to save them. And then there's different scoring opportunities with the way that you place these things as well. And you can also gain seashells, which is your currency, and you can go to the beach to earn other amenities as well. And you also are trying to build an aquarium while you go. And the person with the biggest aquarium, you can see the aquarium pieces up at the top right hand section of this photo. The person with the tallest aquarium, I believe it is, gets bonus points as well, and that those cost seashells to build your aquarium and get different fish in there. And you have, let's see, you've got exhibits, you've got your vault, and you've got your aquariums, and you get coins for all of those at the end of the game. And the person with the most coins wins. Now, the thing I like most about this is that the box top, which is at the top left hand corner of this picture, is where you roll your dice. And when you roll your dice in there, that tells you where you can place your dice and how you're going to use your dice to dive into the sea. I like this game.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I like to build my aquarium as tall as I can get it. That's usually like one of my main goals. You can get a lot of points from building your aquarium. And then also the ones in my vault, if you have them in certain orders, you have to fill them from the bottom first, and then whatever column you have, you can then start placing in columns. But you can't place a die if there isn't something below it.
No.
In your vault. Or is
No.
that in your? I'm sorry, not in
No,
your.
that's the
Is
vault.
that right?
That's the vault over to the side. The left is where you're making the different configurations to fill the orders or whatever they're
Yes.
called. I don't remember what they're called.
The antiquity type things.
Yeah.
Um,
This has a nice positive player interaction as well in
yes.
it, which
Yes.
I
So,
can see a bigger player counts would be even better.
yeah, so when you go down to dive, and I'm pointing like you guys can see this right now, but as you go down and dive on the ocean floor, if you put your diver next to another diver, you both get um, a treat for that, basically. So you may get 2 diamonds and the other person may get 1 diamond. So there's no take that in this game, which I really like because I'm not a take that kind of player whatsoever. So this one has a lot of positive interaction with other players. You can send somebody to the beach if they're in the spot that you want to be in. And when you send them to the beach, they get something for going to the beach.
Yeah.
You don't just kick them out of your spot and they get nothing. They still get something positive to help the game play a little bit faster and to get more bonus at the end.
Yeah, so what Stacy's talking about is if you're in one of the racks and you want to go to the spot that they are at, because you can only go to spots for the number of dice that you draft, um, you bump them. So it has a bumping mechanism, but they don't get bumped away. They get bumped onto the beach. If you're on the beach, you do get bumped off, but then you get that worker back. Your workers really never come off the board while you are unless they get bumped off.
Mm-hmm.
And the player and the positive player interaction at the rec sites is good because like if you have a player, let's say you have one of your characters on like the 2 and you grab a 1 dice and you put it on the 1 right next to it, you now get 2 treasures because you get it for the one you just placed and the one that's next to it. So if you can place it between 2 of your others, you're going to get 3 treasures. So there's a lot of things about this game I really like. The positive player interaction, the bumping, that, that kind of helping each other without helping each other. It is a really fun game. It'll be interesting to see where it lands on both of our lists when we do our ranked collection. It'll be interesting. Which
I'm gonna do it alphabetically.
That's not ranking. No, ranking the collection would be putting it on Pub Meeple and seeing where they end up in rankings. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. There are 2019 game recommendations. There are 15 game recommendations from 2019. I'll be honest, when I was doing my list, it really surprised me how many of kind of some of my favorite games, like my number 1 Ticket to Ride City Edition, one of my top 2 Polyomino games in Isle of Cats, one of my top 2 Action Rights and Cartographers, my favorite Azul in the series, So there was a lot of games. Parks is one of my top, it's definitely in my top 10 worker placements, if not top 5. I haven't done that actual ranking list for, but just how many of these games like are on like list for those mechanisms. So I really like that. It was just a really fun list to make.
And go Avs.
See you, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Thanks for cheering.
And yeah, so it was a really good list. We're really enjoying these going through the years. Like Stacey said, we're also then kind of trying to clear off games from the years as much as we possibly can, so that we do have all of our games played, and it's helping us clear a bunch of games off. So when we do a call, we can actually like be like, yeah, this one doesn't need to say, yeah, this one will. Um, yeah, this was a good list to keep.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us live. Most likely they'll be recorded from now on. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll decide. Maybe we'll do two. Maybe we'll do this live every week. It's I don't know. We'll see. It's a little easier to kind of just do it at the end of the week than to try and get it recorded and stuff. But
Yeah.
we've got our stuff set up right now for recording, so that's always good. Yeah. Any last thoughts on?
Try my games. They're all fun.
I agree. They're really fun. Oh, I was gonna say. So we had 2 Stonemaier games, 2 Thunderworks games, 2 City of games, and 2 Buttonshy games on this list out of all these. So,
Wowzers.
yeah. Yeah. But there you have it, guys. Once again, this has been Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time.
At the table. Go Avs!